We have talked about what it takes to be an entrepreneur and when is the right time for an entrepreneur to take the plunge to start his business. Today, we are going to talk about the next most logical step in the startup journey, how to write a business plan. Hello, sir.
Irony.
So far, I have been working somewhere, and today I have decided that I'm going to take the plunge and I will start my business. So, the next step is to write my business plan. Where should I start?
Irony, I've met lots of young entrepreneurs who get very intimidated when they have to write a business plan.
Right,
The simplest way to think of a business plan is an articulation of the multiple steps that you want to take in doing your business,
right,
right? So therefore, there's nothing complicated about it. There's no rocket science about writing a business plan.
mm-hmm.
What you really have to do is to start putting down your thoughts, and let me try and explain to you what normally would happen when you're thinking of a plan. When you start thinking of a plan, you say, what business do you want to be in? You say, who are going to be your competitors? What is the government environment for that particular type of business that you want to be in? How easy or difficult it is for competition to get in later on, right? And then you come to the last point, which is how much money do I need,
Right,
right?
right,
So when I wrote my first business plan for Guardian, I had a vision, which was that I want to build India's largest pharmacy chain, which would enable customers to be able to shop themselves.
mm-hmm.
I also wanted to make sure that the employees of Guardian would be able to say that this is one of the best places to work in. And
Right,
finally, I wanted to say, in a country that has been plagued with fake medicines, I wanted to say that Guardian would be a place which would give 100% reliable medicines. So, my first line of my business plan was I want to build Boots. Boots is one of the largest British pharmacy chain. I want to build Boots in India. And everything started to flow from that. How would my stores look? How would my
right.
merchandising look? What would my colleagues in the store wear? And so on and so forth. So, when you are going to write a business plan, think of everything that is going on in your mind and put it down in paper.
So, a business plan is essentially my vision document that's going to drive me. Uh, I am not an expert in writing business plan. I may have a dream, I may have a vision, but I really don't know what all goes in writing a business plan. Should I write my own business plan or should I hire a professional?
So, remember that a business plan is not a document that has to be filed in a library. It is also not a document that has to be sent for awards because it has got fantastic English written in it. I've always believed that the entrepreneur must write his or her own business plan because only then will the business plan be a living document that
Uh-huh.
it is supposed to be,
Right,
right? It must be able to meet first your own aspirations.
right,
That what am I setting out to do, and what do I, uh, how will I get there?
right, right.
By all means, look, when you Google business plan, you'll get millions of options in some point, zero
Yeah,
zero three
yeah.
or some nanoseconds.
Right.
Google will tell you here are all the options. Read those, get your ideas, but when it comes to putting pen to paper, or put your finger on your keyboard instead of pen to paper now, make sure that you write every single word yourself. There is nothing complicated
Okay.
about writing a business plan. There is nothing complicated about putting out a document that will work and be your guiding document as you build your business.
Okay, but while writing the business plan myself, I might not have access to all the data
Yeah.
points. I have to make assumptions. Is it okay to make such assumptions, or should I do a market research and get onto all those things that big companies do before launching a product into the market or a company into the market?
So, Arani, market research is always important.
Right.
I would never say it's not important. Knowledge of your market is very important.
Mm-hmm.
But when you are starting a business, don't get overwhelmed by data and research.
Mhm.
As I mentioned, a business plan is a living document,
Mhm.
and therefore, right through your life of the business, you will keep on modifying it, you will keep on enhancing it, you will keep on adding to it, you will keep on deleting from it. No first business plan is ever the best business plan or is ever the right business plan.
Okay.
What is very important is what you asked me in your question is, should I make assumptions?
Right.
Make assumptions, but record the assumptions you're making very carefully. Because 1 year later, you would have forgotten the assumptions you've made, and then you will wonder, how do I justify what I have written?
Okay.
So once you have written out your assumption, and the assumption could be that I want to build 15 stores in Gurgaon. Now, if that is your assumption, then a lot of things will follow.
Right.
15 stores means the market must be there,
Right.
the real estate must be there, you must have trained staff, you must have enough consumers.
Right.
So if I say I'm going to put 15 stores out in the desert where there are no consumers, then obviously my business cannot work.
Right.
So whatever assumption I'm making must be linked to that particular aspect of the business plan, and that is what is going to bring some reality into your plan.
Okay. So the other part of writing a business plan,
Mhm.
other than being a vision document, is planning my finances.
Yeah.
Now, I'm assuming for most entrepreneurs out there, their initial funding is going to come from their savings. How far out should I plan to use my savings, and when should I ask for money?
The topic of raising money is a whole new ball game, and I'm sure we'll cover this in great detail in one of our podcasts. But to talk about when to, how much money you should use, a lot of entrepreneurs bootstrap their their business.
Right.
Basically, meaning that they dip into their savings, they dip into whatever is are their resources,
Mhm.
and they start to do their business.
Right.
I am firmly of the view that unless you know that you're going to strike oil, right, or you're going to win big in roulette or in a casino, I don't think any entrepreneur should bet their bottom dollar to say that I'm going to put everything I have into this.
Okay.
And that's because you have to be sensible when you make an investment. You have to be sensible for yourself, and if you have family, you've got to be sensible for them.
Right.
You cannot, because of your own desire to do everything possible, make the mistake of betting everything you have.
So ego should not come in between my planning.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And just to go back to your comment that the business plan is your vision document, I want to just make a small correction. The vision document is where you want to get,
Right.
but the business plan is much more than that. It
Okay.
outlines all the steps that you want to take
Okay.
to get there.
Okay.
So the vision is, say, I want to be able to build a social media company which is going to be the best in the world.
Right.
Just giving you an example. Now, what are all the steps that you will want to take in that? And that is going to be that you've got to have content, you've got to have people who will come and talk to you, you've got to have the funding available, you've got to be able to reach out to consumers who will listen to your content, you will have the databases available, and all the things that will go into building. And if you were to look at your own business, there are so many things that you do in your business on a daily basis which have to be articulated in your business plan.
Right. Right. Now, we were talking about briefly, other than it being a vision document, it has to lay down the path.
Correct.
Now, in my business plan, I realized shortly after launching my business that it's not right. There is something wrong in my plan that is prohibiting me from achieving my vision. Now, what do I do in such cases? should I stick to my plan because I thought a great deal about it, I consulted people while writing it, or should I modify it? And how often should I modify, if I modify at all?
So a business plan must be modified because every day, once you start your business, you learn new things.
Right.
If you had all the answers, then it's probably not a business you want to be in,
Right.
because
Right.
then everyone has the same set of answers.
Right.
Your entrepreneurial journey is a journey of exploration.
Right.
It's a journey of trying to achieve what you have the vision for, and as you go step by step, there will be many things that will come across you, and a lot of them will make you change your core assumptions. That I thought I will do this. I assume this will happen, and 6 months later, you may find that may not happen.
Right.
So you must be ready to make changes in your business plan. Having said that, changing your business plan on a daily basis is not a wise idea.
Okay.
That means you haven't thought through, what your business plan should be.
Right.
Ideally, when you and your team sit down to review a plan, it should be done once a quarter.
Okay.
And that once a quarter is when you can make course correction. And as you get better and better at it, you will suddenly realize that by the time you're in your fourth or fifth or sixth quarter, you're being able to predict fairly accurately.
Okay.
Then the challenge will come if there are situations beyond your control. And what could those situations be? They could be either some action or a law that has been enacted by the government,
Yes.
which you have no idea about. They could be some natural calamity that may occur, may affect your business. There could be a situation where some of your very key team members decide to walk out, and you're suddenly left without having planned a decent enough succession.
Right.
So if those kind of serious assumptions take place, then quickly review your business plan. Otherwise, try and keep it every quarter.
Okay. While making mistakes, of course, every business makes mistakes,
Absolutely.
Especially in the initial years. Now, how do I plan for losses?
Losses are a part of life of every startup.
Right.
Before your revenues start to flow in, before your profits start to flow in, you are bound to make losses. What I tell everybody is that it is better to plan for losses than to get surprises.
Okay.
So if you have planned that you're going to lose 3 lakh rupees in the year, and if you lose 30, then you've got a serious problem.
Right.
But if you've decided that, plan for losses at 3 and you go to 4, or you make it 2, then at least you have planned correctly, and there are not going to be some incredible shocks where you suddenly say, how the hell am I going to manage this big loss?
Okay.
So plan for your loss. There is absolutely no problem in making a loss, as long as there is light at the end of the tunnel, which says that at the end of 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, whatever is your own appetite for the loss, as long as that is there, go ahead and implement, and don't be shy of losses.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Now I have a bonus question for you. Let's take example of those startups that are not really planned. I'll give you my example. 7 years back, when I started, I saw an opportunity, and I realized that to do this, I need to leave my studies and I need to get onto this.
Yeah.
And I did not really have a definite business plan. I saw an opportunity and I took it.
Great.
Now, when should you advise to do something for someone to do that? Or if someone does that, should we make a business plan later on, or should we just go with the flow and take the route that I've been taking?
So I see no reason why people shouldn't follow the path you did.
Okay.
I mean, iconic names like Jobs and Gates, all of them worked out of their garages, and I'm sure none of them wrote business plans before they started implementing their ideas.
Right.
But once you have started down your journey of the business that you have wanted to do, then you have to start bringing in some sanity into your business plan, which will start giving direction to you.
Right.
And also write out or lay out a clear path for your organization, which has got a lot of employees.
Right.
So they must know what is the direction you're going. Being a maverick in the early days of your entrepreneurial journey is fantastic. But every maverick has to start, as his teams start to grow larger, has to start getting straitjacketed into a business that will be able to guide what you have started to create.
Okay.
I've known several people who were mavericks who then become serial entrepreneurs. They don't like being straitjacketed, they don't like a business plan,
Right.
and therefore what they do is at the end of 3 years, 4 years, they sell their whole business and start something new. Because that's the kind of people they are.
Okay.
And it has often been seen that people who create new businesses are not necessarily the people who run them later on.
Okay. All right. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.